History is full of small-looking decisions that later reshape whole lives and borders. In this compilation, one law, one apartment, one manuscript workshop, and one memorial name all reveal how far a single record can reach. An Ottoman-era nationality law in Iraq later helped decide who could be pushed out. A paper rule became a border gate. In Ottoman Iraq, the law set a category for belonging and status. It did not just name people, it sorted them on paper. Generations later, Saddam Hussein's state used that old category as a label for people marked inauthentic. Up to 2 million Iraqis were placed under that word. Once the label was in place, the policy could justify expulsion. As many as 400,000 people were forced out, with homes left behind. A nationality law became a gate, then a border, then an empty home. On the floor, a dropped key sits beside a closed wooden door. Before he became president, Vito Smolev-Skibato's apartment was already known for illegal revolutionary activity. A private home had become a political address. Smolev-Skibato was a Macedonian politician and partisan leader. In a tense post-war climate, private rooms could serve as safer places than public halls. That apartment was described as a center of underground work, where people could meet away from official eyes. The home itself became part of the mechanism. Later, he served 3 times as president under different titles. The same name moved from a private room into the highest state offices. So the story begins with an apartment, not a palace. Before the state title came the table, the chairs, and the quiet meeting room. One manuscript maker keeps turning up beside the same writer's name. That is unusual in medieval book production. He is known as the master of the Epiter Diothea, an illuminator of illuminated manuscripts. The repeated client was Christine de Pizan. Christine de Pizan was one of the first professional female writers in Europe. Her books needed text, images, and a workshop that could answer again and again. That pattern suggests a working partnership, not a one-time commission. The workshop's output followed her literary needs across repeated manuscripts. So the odd clue is not a mystery object, but a repeated page. A brush, a writer, and one workshop left their mark in the same books. Sir Lister Holt gave up his own carriage horses for the anti-Jacobite side, but the gift did not settle where his loyalty really sat. Holt was a landowner in a world split by the Jacobite cause. Public gifts mattered, because they showed where a man stood when pressure was high. The suspicious part is simple. He donated horses openly, yet the surviving account suggests he may have felt sympathy for the Jacobites in private. That meant one act could serve the anti-Jacobite cause while hiding a different feeling. In wartime, a horse donation could look clear and still leave the donor unreadable. So the story ends with a split image, public loyalty on one side, private doubt on the other. What remains is the donor, the carriage horses, and the Jacobites. Susanna Levasengauer chased patronage with the same energy other people brought to cards. In her drawing room, a visit could matter as much as a vote. She was Susanna Levasengauer, Marchioness of Stafford, a British aristocrat shaped by 2 powerful families. From childhood, she was steered towards social connections and family advancement. That training made her unusually eager for patronage appointments. She treated introductions, dinners, and visits as a route to influence, not just manners. In elite politics, that changed the function of the room. A drawing room could trade introductions for appointments, and a polished conversation could open a family path upward. So the hostess was not decoration at the edge of power. She stood beside the tea service, the calling cards, and the quiet exchange of connections. Mary Teresa Vidal began with stories meant to guide convicts and servants, not to amuse a salon. In Australia, she published Tales for the Bush, a book of Christian moral tales. Vidal had moved from England to Australia in 1840 with her clergyman husband. The colony held convicts, servants, and families living under strict church influence. Her collection was built as instruction. Each tale paired fiction with a moral lesson, aiming at readers society believed needed religious guidance. That choice made her early fiction useful to colonial institutions. It also placed a woman novelist inside the daily reading world of the bush. After she returned to England, Vidal kept publishing novels and short stories, some still set in Australia. The path from tales to novels began with a moral book on a bush table. Australia's first native-born verse book imagines a new Britannia in another world. That is a strange place to find a future identity. The book was Australasia, written by William Charles Wentworth. It was the first book of verse by a native-born Australian. Wentworth's title points beyond one colony. He uses Australasia to picture a growing society as a new Britannia, but in another world. That makes the book both local and imperial at once. A native-born voice speaks for Australia, while still borrowing Britain's language of future and rule. So Australasia stands as a poem of arrival and inheritance. On the page, Australia's future is still held beside Britannia, verse after verse. Edward A. Brudno's name was added to the Vietnam Veterans Memorial long after he died. The wall already existed. Brudno had been a Vietnam War prisoner. For years, his place in the official list stayed unresolved. Then a Department of Defense ruling changed the record. That ruling made his status official for the memorial. After that, his name could be added to the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. The carved wall became a corrected list, not just a fixed one. Decades after his death, the memorial held a new line for Edward A. Brudno: a name, a ruling, and a place on the wall. If these stories changed the way you think about history, subscribe for more overlooked facts and tell us which episode surprised you most. The past is often stranger when you follow the paperwork, the private rooms, and the names left behind.